The genre vintage-inspired racing piece has seen a lot of competition. There are the big role models by Zenith, Tag Heuer and some other iconic brands. But they've reached new heights in price and are not always a realistic option. Luckily, there are alternatives that have adopted the classic look, the functionality, but not the price tag. The latest example is Timex, well known for quite some vintage-inspired pieces on a budget. The brand now offers a new member of its Marlin line, the Marlin Chronograph Tachymeter. So let's go over the basics. We have here a watch with a case diameter of 40 mm, a height of 13, a length of 48, and a lug width of 20 mm. The watch is equipped with an acrylic crystal, an ordinary crown, and is therefore waterproof up to 50 meters. It is powered by a quartz movement with a date function and available in 3 dial colors: green, blue and silverish panda, let's say. 3 versions come on a leather strap and the price is indicated with 199 euros including VAT or 179 US dollars without VAT. And one watch comes on a Jubilee type bracelet, which is, very interesting. So let's begin with the layout. It's slightly more advanced than the typical 60s chrono because the first subdial shows a 24-hour indicator. The second shows the seconds and the third a 60-minute counter. The date between 4 and 5, which adds again some Zenith El Primero vibes. Very simple are hands and pushes, but that makes sense. You actually see these reduced forms on classic models by, let's say, Heuer. The mentioned tachymeter scale you find on the outer edge of the dial. And the dial itself sports a very nice sunburst brushing. But what happened with the numerals? They've chosen a very special font that reminds me strongly of 80s science fiction movies. The watch DNA comes from the 60s though, so that font creates certainly some distraction. But I think that was the exact idea behind it. When you choose all these classic options straight by the book, then you're in danger to create a reenactor. Historic accurate, down to the last screw, but sometimes not very exciting. And so I like that aspect, although it creates an unusual emphasis of the upper half of the dial. Somewhat balanced by the date window, but that will certainly create some debates. Also divisive can be a plexiglass crystal. That might be cost cutting, because this form is high. And that executed in sapphire is very expensive. But plexi here makes sense. There are other 60s chronos on the market, reissues with sapphire and also with mineral glass coated. And that can't create too much bling with such a busy watch. Then the entire thing can look a bit overexposed, like something you see in a rather cheap shop display. One word now about the Jubilee bracelet. Buy it. I mean, when you consider now to buy that model in general, then buy it with a bracelet. The difference in price is around 20 bucks, and for that you get a Jubilee with solid links and a quick release mechanism. And now the movement, well, quartz. For me, clearly a downside, but I get it. When you want to offer something entry level for under 200 bucks, then you probably cannot use a Miyota for the job. So, conclusion, if you like the genre, if this fits your budget, then the Timex Marlin Chronograph Tachymeter might be a good pick. Bang per buck ratio is 11 out of 10, I think, and there are enough options for different tastes. And that said, allow me to close this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much and see you next Monday to Watch of the Week.